What's up everybody, and welcome to my Lei Wili workshop. Here's a picture of the supplies you'll need. You'll need raffia, you can use yarn if you don't have raffia. You'll need scissors, a trash station, a spray bottle, and flowers. For the sake of this video, I did speed up a lot of the work that I did. The first thing you'll want to do is go ahead and clean and cut your flowers after you had them soaking. I cut the stems kind of long, at least 3 to 4 inches. That way when you are twining your lei or wiliing your lei, you have space to do so. Also, the thicker and longer the stems of the flowers or foliage that you're using, the easier it will be to have a built-in base. So as you can see in the video, I was spraying my flowers down continuously just to make sure they stay moist and hydrated. I did realize as I was halfway through cutting and sorting through my flowers and foliage that I was using, it is easier to use plants that have softer stems. At some point my roses actually started to snap off at the stem, so the softer foliage is definitely easier and better in a sense. Also, fuller foliage makes for a fluffier or thicker lei. I also did only have very few select foliage that was really worth buying, so kind of play by what you have available and also what you can afford. So for the flowers that I used for filler, so like these smaller flowers, those you want to kind of keep in bunches, and so you can see I separated them out, and I will later show you the different bunches that I will be using. Don't forget to spritz and keep your flowers moist. You don't want them to dry up, because if you do let them dry, they do become brittle and they're a little harder to work with. So you see I'm separating them out into bunches. I'm peeling the ones that are really long off, that could be bunched together on their own or used as individuals. So little bundles such as these will be the individual bundles that get laid down and then twined into the lei. And I will show you each individual flower, so we'll be doubling up on the mumps. We'll put at least 2 of those. And you'll see as you start to place them, they kind of have their own way of laying, and so each individual one, you can decide how you want to put it. There's no correct or incorrect way of doing this. It's more of a creative thinking space. You want to have good energy when you're doing this. You want to be in a positive mindset and make sure that you have ample time to do this, because you do need to keep the tension on your lei consistent, and you know, placing your flowers. For this step, we will be using the raffia to make our base. So you will be picking out 3 pieces of raffia, pretty long, because you will be tying them together at the end and then braiding them just like you would braid hair, so just like a 3-strand braid. And you would braid the piece of raffia together to be as long as you would like your lei, so be mindful of how much flowers you do or don't have. I ended up making a little like crown / dog lei because I was running out of flowers and my roses snapped. So it does take practice. Do what you can. As you can see, I am picking different pieces of raffia and I tie them together at the end. I was having a little bit of trouble. I am out of practice. but there's no time like the present to practice, and I tied the end, and then I went ahead and I started braiding them. You can ask somebody to hold the edge to braid, or you could like put it between your toes and braid. Everyone has their own special method. After you have braided a good portion of the raffia, you should have as many inches as you need or you would like, and then we will go on and pull more raffia to basically create the twine line that will hold the flowers onto your base, so they will be tied together at some point. So this is the whole raffia, and then this is the longer portion of the raffia that we are tying together. You're just gonna pull pieces, and at the end just double knot it, tie, and move on to another piece. I do about 8 pieces just so I have ample pieces connected already, so I don't have to stop and lose tension on my lei. So it is a little kind of time consuming, but you do have to do a lot of prep for this. So here we have our base raffia, and then we have our line raffia that we will be tying to this portion. So I measure about like 5 to 6 inches because that's for tying. If you're going to tie it around someone's neck or you're going to tie it around someone's head, you just go ahead and attach it at the base, and then we will get started. So when we start this lei, you want to pick flowers that you want to basically use as filler. It is easier to lay the filler down flat first, and then you go ahead and just twine it around. You can twine it around at least twice. You don't want to do it too tight or too loose, but basically the base raffia will serve as your backing, so you want to keep that in the back and as flat as possible. Then you want to build your flowers on top of one another, and each time you put a flower or 2 down, you want to wrap it at least once or twice. It depends on your grip strength and your hold, and like so you can see how it should be laid, and we will basically build off the same pattern the whole entire lei. It does take some practice and some time and patience, so this isn't something that you're going to master in one class, but do take your time. This is a very calming and very fulfilling type of craft and activity to do. You just need to make sure you have patience and time and practice your grip strength and tension, so this is also beneficial to volleyball. But like so, we will be placing flowers and wrapping, and you can size up, and you can, do a creative pattern if you like. I was doing filler and then filler, and then roses, as you'll see as we go on. When placing the roses, I did have a little bit of a difficult time. The stems were snapping, so I did figure out that if you bend it a little ways down further than the actual stem connecting to the flower, they would stay. You just have to be very careful. And so that's why I did bring up that it is easier to do it with softer foliage. So we can do another style of lei that involves just roses. It's called Lei Wili. But for this, we'd be doing Lei Wili, which is twining, and like so, you would lay the flower and twine. And as you can see, I'm trying to figure out a pattern with the filler, and it just goes on like this. It's nice and slow. You want to keep your tension. You want to keep the back piece flat. And as my bundles got bigger, I twined them a little bit more. You can see I have a flat back, my base, and it makes it easier to work with, and it keeps the lei itself fuller. Here we can see the progression of the lei being built. You want to keep the tension on when wrapping. As you can see, it's rare that I let go of the lei or put it down. You do want to keep your hand to it, if not it'll become undone. And here is a fast forward of the progression of the lei. You can see there is much more lei done. So for the end, we will be wrapping it around a few times at the end. You do want to go ahead and wrap 1 or 2 times, and then you're going to leave a loop during one of the wrappings to string your twine through like so, in order to kind of end it off and tie it. And then you want to pull it all the way. You can tie that a few times just like that, and then you can just go ahead and cut it when it is to your liking, and you want to make sure that it is kind of stuck. You could also go ahead and double knot the end so you know it's finished, and cut. And here we have our finished product. You can see the back is flat. You can go ahead and tie it off, or you can gift it to someone and tie it. The best way to store these lei are in the refrigerator, spritzed and moist. You can wrap them up in newspaper damp or a paper bag damp. Put it in a plastic bag and put it in the fridge. It'll keep for a few days. When you dry this lei out, you can also spray it with hairspray and hang it up to dry, and it'll also stay together. And this is my dog model that I had for the evening. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you.